Hey, welcome back to He's on Fire podcast. I'm your host, Coach Evan B. And the Arizona State Sun Devils played a football game tonight. It wasn't the most beautiful thing. We've seen better, but they played. And you know what? After what everybody's been through, I call that a win. So tonight, I'm going to bring on a special guest, Jedi ASU. We're going to talk everything that went down with Arizona State tonight. But you know what? Football's back. College football's back. A lot to be excited about. So let's get into it. He's on Fire podcast. Let's go.
Urkavici sets, looks up, and it is caught! Dylan Strong! Blitz coming, Matthews, Palmer extending the play, crosses the field, Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald is insane to the 4-yard line. Crowder looking, throws it alley-oop. Oh! He puts it down! He puts it down! They're getting a little wobbly. The downfield shots ASU. The foot race. They won't get it. 17. The Diamondbacks are world champions.
As I said, it is just good to have football back, isn't it? I sure enjoyed tonight. You know, even if it's just a regular old game on a Thursday night, it was still a lot of fun. But please go ahead and follow, share this out. We're on Twitter, Facebook. You can copy our links to Anchor, and please go ahead and subscribe. But I want to bring on our friend Jedi ASU with us now. Jedi, how are we doing tonight, my friend?
Just happy to be here, man. Like you said, thankfully football is back. We can enjoy it. We can talk about something else and just go ahead and enjoy just being here, man. What's happened, and we get to talk about something other than holy crap, whatever else is going on the planet.
Exactly. It was a good thing to see fans out there too. It felt like a long day for me, man. I was just waiting for kickoff, caught some of the Utah game, then the Utah game got delayed, and then you start seeing pictures of the fans arriving, getting into the stadium, and it just felt normal, you know? It felt really good to get there. But then the game started, and it started out great. We scored a touchdown in the first, 24 seconds, and then everything just kind of unraveled. It was a weird game, penalties left and right. What stood out to you first and foremost?
Well, I think the one thing, obviously, that is going to be the talking point all week is the penalties. I mean, I think, and again, I have something up here already, but I think this from the penalties, I think there was 13. I can't even see here on the stats, but it was a ridiculous amount, like 13 penalties for 57,000 yards or something ridiculous.
That's
but anyway,
accurate.
Yeah, I think that's about it, right? But I think it's going to overshadow, I think, a lot that we need to kind of highlight. I mean, I'm looking at the box score here, right? 14-41. It should have been, 40. Well, let's see. We botched up two 2-point plays, right? Wait, a botched a point. And so what? We've left 3-4 points on the play, on the field, right? So we probably would have hit the over. We would have probably hit the over if we had done that. But thankfully, it's only the first game, right? We're making these kind of mistakes before we see BYU and
UNLV next.
Yeah, right. But I mean, just real quick, passing 199 yards, Jaden and Trenton Bourget are both doing that, right? 122 yards on the ground, right, across 7 rushers, which is incredible, right? So it's, again, a very ultra balanced attack, right? And so how many? 8 receivers, right? So, I mean, that is really spreading the wealth. So, I mean, I think that's definitely something to be enjoyed, right? I think the defense was really good, right? I think that was one of the things Southern Utah did was protect the quarterback, but then we started getting towards that. And so there's a lot of good things. I think it's just, we have such high expectations this year that a lot of us are just going to be hypercritical.
No, we absolutely do. I mean, total yards, 427. You can't go wrong with that. I mean, Utah won today against Weber State, 40-17. and it's the first game. It's against an FCS opponent.
Mhm.
There's a theory you don't want to show too much, but you do want to throw a few wrinkles in there, and
Why
you're going
not?
to throw the vanilla offense and everything. You know what I mean? Are you taking this game to heart, or is it, we see the vast majority of improvement between week 1 and week 2,
Right.
especially in college football. So are you taking this game as a grain of salt, or are there things that are really sticking out that you think are going to be issues down the road?
Well, I think so. I'm an analytics guy. I do analytics for during the day. That's my day job, right? And so the one of the metrics that I'm interested in is actually seeing the number of penalties. They have to be in half, right? For us to actually, the number of penalties just have to be cut in half for it to at least be manageable. Because even Brad Denny even said to win by 20 points, 20 plus points with that many yards of penalties,
Mm-hmm.
that's surprising to do. This is against Southern Utah. That's not going to fly in a lot of these closer games that we're doing. So as long as it doesn't become a habit and we start seeing it consistently all the way into, let's say, Colorado, I think that's easier to clean up. One of the variables that I was trying to kind of think of, it's like, okay, well, what about our receiving core? But looking at the stats, again, 200 yards across 8 receivers. The average was 14.2 yards. That, again, maybe because we're playing against Southern Utah, but again, there is production there. So, I'm not going to bash on it. We'll take it. We'll take it for a first game.
Absolutely. Again, we need to tone it back just a little bit. We're happy to be here. First off, it's the first game. The team really didn't get a chance last year, so everybody's coming back. Everybody's hyped up. Mistakes happened, especially in the first quarter. I really think we're going to turn around and show a different type of team even next week, even though
Right.
UNLV just lost to Eastern Washington in, I think, double overtime tonight, and that's an
Yeah.
FCS team. So, UNLV is going to have a little something to prove next week. They're going to be pissed off. I expect them to come out with their best punch against us. So how are we
Yeah.
going to counter?
I think both again, I didn't get to watch the UNLV game, unfortunately, so I can't
Same.
speak to what went well, what went bad, and everything else. So that's why I'm really kind of curious to read up on that game, because I tried to look at some of the stats, because the box score from ASU, because I wanted to know how we were doing defensively. But so what I want to see improve next week is more of the passing, more. I don't even know if it's fair for me to ask more targets, right? Because it's so balanced with 200, 244 in the air and 199. I'm going to have to rewatch the game and really see. I just want today, everyone asked me, what did I want today? I wanted a complete game. I wanted the offense to be good and tight. I wanted the defense to not be sloppy and stifling, right? And the defense was that, right? I think it was only 75 yards on the ground, right? And then there was, even though it felt like we were just giving them all these yards, 75 yards on
Yeah.
the ground isn't bad, right? 146 yards, I think, in the air. That's good to hold that team down, and only allowing 14 points. But, it's incremental improvement, fewer penalties. How do I say this? Less unspecial teams. I want more special teams and less unspecial teams, right? The run, I don't know who in the conference is going to stop our run. I mean, even watching Utah play Weber State, they were allowing big runs there. So if they're allowing holes for an FCS team to run like that, we should probably do a 2016 them and just not even pass the ball and just run it. Just run. But we'll see. I mean, it's really a true 3-headed monster from the ground. I just want to see better passing and more receiving and more yards, because I think, you can't stop this run. This run is beautiful.
And you kind of expect more with the bevy of wide receivers that we have. But I did notice, seemed like we use the tight end a little bit more than we used to. Would you agree with that? It seemed like we were just getting across the seam. We had a nice behind kind of pass. I don't even know how you'd say it. The guy was behind him, Curtis Hodges, and then he just runs off for 22 yards. I think he had 56 receiving yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is unreal for a tight end in an ASU program, right? Because they disappeared for such a long time, and now Yeah, and so now it's back, and again they had to respect it, right? And then they had to respect it, and then all of a sudden it was going back to the run. It was a brilliant plan on the part of the defensive side, and I actually kind of thought about this in one of my preview conversations. I am going to focus on stopping the run because if I was an offensive coordinator on another team, I would focus on stopping the run because I don't respect the wide receivers, the ASU wide receivers. And I'm going to stop the run, and I'm going to make Jaden Daniels throw that ball until you force me to defend your wide receivers. Because if your wide receivers aren't going to catch the ball, then all I got to worry about is a run.
I completely agree. And one of the things that I really wanted to see in this game is coming out healthy. And we saw Jaden Daniels go down and then end up on the side again with cramps or whatever. He was getting fluids. So went out, came back, everything seems fine. We see Rashad White go down. Looks like his wrist is like limp. He comes back, he's just fine. But
and he
Chip
scored
Trainum,
after the next.
he scores right after that. Yep. Chip Trainum, though, he goes down, grabs his ankle. We get reports, I don't know, a couple plays later in the game that he goes to the locker room, and I haven't heard anything. So if anybody listening has any idea what's going on with Chip, or if they've been asking the media, please let us know in the chat. Also, please like and share this out. We really appreciate it. The other thing that stood out, you said it first, the unspecial teams. Man, Logan Tyler, the kicker, he looked horrid tonight. And we just saw, was it this week or last week, Zendejas is back in the program. I expect that to be accelerated a little bit more, wouldn't you?
I hope so. I mean, it's always good to have it. And I mean, it's just we can't get any worse. We're already awful, right? So, I mean, what else are you going to do? And I guess that's always the thing, right? I don't know if he was nervous or whatever in the wide world of sport, laces out, who the hell knows? But I mean, it's just, we'll see how they clean it up. That's going to be less unspecial teams. I mean, the unspecial teams, that's truly just has to go away.
So that, coupled with the penalty yards, coupled with the lack of air attack, which we kind of expect with these NFL running backs that we have in our backfield. And I'm kind of okay with that. If Jaden Daniels averages 250 yards a game and we win, no one's going to say anything. But you kind of expect more with Zach Hill. But does tonight's, and I don't want to say this was a letdown game because it was just a weird game coming off of last year, but maybe some people will say this is definitely a letdown or it was boring. I can see that. Does this affect your outlook for the rest of the 2021 season for the Sun Devils?
No, and I'll tell you why. The only thing that I'm actually as I look at it and I take a deep breath, the only thing I'm disappointed with is that we didn't punch it in at the end. Okay, it's just that's every single team in the conference is going to do that to us. They're going to force it, and they're going to shame the defense to no end. And for us to not do that to even an FCS opponent that we have down that's my one big stink. I think that was the only thing. Looking at everything else coming together, and that actually just came out. Herm's post-game presser says here, Sun Devils had 11 penalties in the first half, 2 in the second. That's actually trending in the right spot within a game. Yep. That's a brilliant thing. So hearing what's up with Chip Trainum, I thought we saw him around. I didn't know if he was on the sideline or not, but anyway, we'll figure that out. Whatever we'll hear from there.
Exactly. The other thing that was a bit concerning was the third down rate that we gave up to SUU. I guess it was 4 of 8 at one point, and then we closed the game strong, and it was 4 of 11. So it just felt like they just kept getting yards here or there, but they really only ended up with 224.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the whole thing, right? I think that's one of the things that I'm most sensitive to is the third down conversions, especially the longs. I mean, it's just what the hell. But again, like you said, cleaned it up in the second half. And there was another tweet out here. Zach Hill just said that Chip Trainum left for the medical tent during the game, does not appear to have a serious injury, but will be naturally evaluated in the next few days. So we have a whole week and change. What is that? We have 9 days.
2 days, 9 days. It's a home game too.
I think I fully expect him to not be at practice. or if he is, he's not working out. If we see him back in practices by Wednesday, then I don't think there's an issue to worry about. But we'll just see what. Again, I don't think Chip's going to be practicing at all these next few days, just because they want to heal the foot. So that's what I expect.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if we would 100% need him for UNLV either. It'd be
And
nice
that's
to have
actually a
him.
brilliant point. Absolutely. If you don't need him, then especially bump up Nada. I mean, you're not losing. I mean,
great.
it's so brilliant that the way this three-headed beast, you bump up Nada, and now you just give Chip a rest. It's a good thing.
Why not? And I could even see Case Hatch getting in there for 3 or 4 or 5 type of touches. Why not?
Absolutely. And I think that's the other thing. I think this is brilliant. I mean, I just, I think when we're in the game, and I am very guilty of this, there's a lot of emotion and you want them to be perfect and all this other stuff. But now that, especially having this conversation with you, looking at all the tweets and the stats and everything coming out, it wasn't as horrific as we thought. It wasn't. And we just have to be a little bit more mindful. It's the first game, and then we get to go ahead and see how this second game is going to be. And we want to see fewer penalties. I'd like to see passes because I'd like to see more in the air personally. I think Jaden did so that I don't think Jaden had an interception, and I think there was 2 sacks. So that's not bad. I don't want that to get worse. So we'll see.
Yeah, he had one questionable one right there that looks like it was miscommunication. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but it did get called back either way.
Right.
Nothing really looked quite crisp, but that's okay. I've seen ASU teams when we had Danny Sullivan as our quarterback and we won like 55-7 our first game, right? And we looked unstoppable, and then we don't even make a bowl game. And then I've seen a couple years ago where it was 19-7 in the first half against an FCS team. We come out, make it a little bit more respectable, and we go on and beat Michigan State the next week. Right.
Yeah,
So
and that was a Sac State game, and they had a good year. Absolutely right. But then again, to that point, we weren't scoring as many points, right? I mean, I think the ability to score points is important. Coach said we were going to score more than 30 points a game. Here we are, 41. So, I mean, we just got to be able to make sure we're putting up the points and making it happen. So
overall, good thing, Sun Devil Nation. Let's calm down just a little bit. Remember where we came from. Remember, these guys are excited coming into this game. We're all human. Things happen. I think it just kind of got the best of them tonight. I'm thinking we're going to look a lot better next week. And Jedi, I know you're a huge college football fan. One of the biggest out there, if not the biggest. Did you catch any part of the Ohio State-Minnesota game tonight?
Part of it, I was watching it, and all I know is that is targeting, and so that's my only opinion on the game.
Exactly. Well, I know you got to get out of here. Is there any lasting points that you have for tonight that you want to leave with us?
Whoever, thanks again for the invite. Really appreciate it. I think it's a great little post game. Kind of, what is it?
Just a post game live broadcast pod decompress therapy session.
It is. It's a good decompression, right? Because it forces me to think, and then I'm not as emotional. So I appreciate the opportunity, but looking forward to doing it again whenever we're able to, man.
Yeah, would love to. Yeah, open invite. If you ever want to get on, just let me know. Where can we find you on Twitter, sir?
So on every single major platform. So that is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snap, TikTok, and there's a few others in there. If you just go ahead and plug in at Jedi ASU, even Venmo, that is me.
Hit him up on Venmo. Show him what's going on. Well, thank you again so much for coming on, Jedi. Let's do it again soon. Forks up as always. There.
Coach, appreciate you. Thanks for doing this, man, and have a wonderful week and enjoy the games this weekend, and we will talk soon.
Cheers. Awesome to have him on. Awesome. So a lot of things are going to be going down this week in college football, and I kind of want to start with the Pac-12. I want to go a little round table here because this is going to be a really big week going into it. Obviously, last week UCLA beat Todd Graham's Hawaii 44-10, but coming up this Saturday, Stanford at K-State, and I want to say it was 2015 or maybe it was 2016. I remember Stanford going to, was it Illinois, Northern Illinois, or it might have been Northwestern, and they just laid an egg, man. They looked absolutely terrible. So Stanford needs to come out on top for the Pac-12 against K-State. Oregon plays Fresno State. Fresno State already won last week, so they should come out with a win. UCLA plays San Jose State. San Jose State just beat SUU last week, our opponent tonight. So obviously we expect USC to win. Oregon State and Purdue, 5 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock local Arizona time. That's going to be a fun one. What is the new Oregon State QB going to do? What is Purdue going to come out and do? We have no idea when it comes to Oregon State. It's either going to be an amazing team and they're going to reach their potential, or they're going to have 1 or 2 wins. Washington is going to play the Grizz of Montana. That's going to be a dub. The game of the Pac-12 is easily going to be LSU at the Rose Bowl against UCLA. And that's going to be the barometer right there, folks. If UCLA wins, that is going to be a prime victory for the Pac-12. I'm almost rooting for UCLA. Not quite, but I'm almost rooting for them. I don't know if anybody that's an Arizona State fan can really root for them, but that would be a big win, because when we beat them, it just makes us look that much better. I know Coach O's got something up his sleeve for his return to California, so that is going to be the game of the night. Cal at Nevada is going to be another one. Cal needs to come out strong. Everybody was injured for them last year. It was horrendous for them. So looking for Cal to actually come back with Chase Garbers and do some things this year. BYU and Arizona at Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas. I mean, I hate BYU. I hate Arizona. Man, it sucks to root for BYU, but you got to do what you got to do. And I'm sorry, my fiance in the other room is a Utah fan, and that is anti-Christ, anti-religious, what we're talking about when it comes to rooting for BYU. But here we are. It's going to be a house divided. She's going to be rooting for Arizona, and I'm going to be rooting for BYU. It's going to be super weird, but I can't wait to tune into that game. That's going to be a really telling game, especially for BYU, because they got to play Utah the next week, and then they play us. All games for them through the first 6 or 8 weeks for BYU were all in the state of Utah, except for this one. And this is going to be kind of a home game for them. BYU travels so much better for Arizona. So I 100% can see BYU coming out and stomping Arizona, or it's going to be a close one. I don't think Arizona's going to win, though. Jed Fish is doing everything right down there. He really is. The uniforms look a little better. They're doing all the right things with bringing in the personnel from their past. Rob Gronkowski came in and caught that touchdown or pass out of the helicopter earlier. So he's doing everything right down there in Tucson. But come on, if they get more than 2 wins this year, I'll be really impressed. I mean, they're nothing but 2 and 3 star recruits down there. Do they have a 4-star? Maybe 1 or 2. They had a lot of transfers when Kevin Sumlin left, and Kevin Sumlin left that cupboard empty as shit down there. He did absolutely horrible. So BYU, Arizona, 8:30 my time, 7:30 local Arizona time, and then Washington State at Utah State. That's going to be another one that obviously we need to look out for. But there are so many good games going on, and I just need to update this to see what's going to be coming up. But I am so thankful, as I said, that college football is here. Unfortunately, I'm going to be redoing my whole bathroom this weekend. I don't know how much football I'm going to be able to get to watch, but you're talking North Carolina, Virginia Tech, obviously Oklahoma over Tulane. Everybody expects Oklahoma and Spencer Rattler to do things. Penn State, Wisconsin. Whoo-wee. That's going to be one of the better ones in the morning. Hopefully I can wake up and watch a little bit of that game. I'm really looking forward to Wisconsin, Penn State. I love me some Big Ten football. We already went over Oregon and Fresno State, Alabama, Miami. Does anybody actually think that's going to be a game? Anybody in the chat think it's going to be a game? Because I sure don't think so. Alabama's going to steamroll. It'll be 44-10 or 41-10, whatever it's going to be. Alabama's going to score in the 40s. Miami's going to be lucky if they can get out. Cincinnati, ranked number 8 this early. They really got to come out smoking. Especially in that conference. I'm a little stunned that they're that high, but we'll see. I'm probably wrong. They seem to know more than me. Iowa, Indiana, that's going to be another Big Ten matchup I'm looking forward to. Texas and Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns, just because of the year that they had last year. It's they're ranked 23rd. Texas is 21. But if Texas lose that game, if Texas loses that, let's go. It's going to be horns down all over. Thought they were back memes, everything. But the game of the week, Georgia, Clemson. Unfortunately, both teams that are in the playoff hunt play each other now, and if one team loses, it's not going to mean anything. It's just not. This is going to be played at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, so it's a neutral field. A loss is not going to be as big as it would be a loss at home. It's not really going to matter in the rankings because everybody's going to say, oh, it's beginning of the year. So don't think whoever loses this game is going to be thrown out automatically. I mean, Clemson's got the easier path in the ACC. So if they lose, they can easily come back and win. And this game is going to be nothing but a memory. If Georgia loses and then loses another one, that's going to be tough for them. Couple other games going on. Sunday night, Notre Dame and Florida State. That's going to be a fun one. Anytime Notre Dame plays a team like that, my ears perk up a little bit because it's Notre Dame. I do have a little bit of a soft spot for them, but only a little bit. And here we are at the end of week 1 for Arizona State football. I really wasn't too impressed with the interior line play. I know losing Jermaine Lole hurts, but with the talent that we have, I really expected a little bit more. And I'm going to pull up some of my notes that I have throughout the game. And I kind of want to go through the sequence of events that brought us to where we were at. First off, we started with the DeAndre Pierce interception to the 3, and then Chip Trainum just walks it in the first 24 seconds. Like, okay, here we go. Rose Bowl season, right? I'll miss the extra point, and I already miss Christian Zendejas. Who knew, right? And then we get a roughing the kicker play while we're on defense, turns into a long pass play, but ASU gets the fumble recovery. And then Andre Johnson gets a nice 31-yard catch. He goes up to the high point, brings the ball in, comes down with it. That was really nice. And then the Jaden Daniels interception, but it got called back, thank God. And then Ricky Pearsall comes in with a catch, and then a 4th and 1 White touchdown. Exactly what we thought was going to happen. I knew that we were going to have 200 plus yards on the ground. And if Jaden Daniels broke 250 yards in the air, I was going to be impressed. We had 3 penalties on the next defensive drive, y'all. 3 15-yard penalties. One was roughing the punter, and that led to a touchdown. Tyler Johnson then gets ejected for targeting. Fumble by the kickoff on ASU, but then Darren Butler goes in and gets the interception almost right away. Turns into a punt to the 1. We were worried about special teams with who's it that just transferred out because of the vaccine stuff or whatever his name is. It doesn't matter what his name is. And this new Chaplicki comes in, punts it to the 1, and we have a punter all of a sudden, right? So let's see what he does next year. White punt return. Comes back, hurts his wrist. That's when I talked about it kind of came up limp, right? But went right back out there. He leads to another White TD right afterwards. ASU then forces a punt and a 15-yard touchdown by Chip Trainum. All of a sudden, it's 28-7. SUU drives to end the first half, and then Darian Butler with another interception. So there are good things that we can look at, but it was just a really weird first half. Ended up with 135 penalty yards. Vontez Burfict teams didn't even have 135 penalty yards, y'all. So I'm really frustrated, confused maybe is a better term of why we came out like that. But as Jedi ASU pointed out, only 2 in the second half. So things are looking up. After a few quarterback Jaden Daniel runs in the first, Pearsall gets an end around for a 26-yard touchdown. It's now 34-7. Should have been 35-7. And that was where everything really got weird. Daniels then walks off and we don't know what's going on, but it looks like cramps, ends up on the sidelines, and that's awesome. Chip Trainum then gets hurt. And this is what we alluded to earlier. We don't really know what's going on with Chip. So really hoping he can come back and everything is going to be fine. JJ Wilson then gets a catch and then a fumble. Another one. So things did not look good for the Sun Devils from there on out. They obviously scored another touchdown later on. They should have punched it in at the end there. But again, this is the first game. So we need to breathe. We need to relax. I think next week is going to be even more important. Obviously, every consecutive game is going to be more important than your last one. So hopefully they can come back. Hopefully they can do something and put a smile on our face next week. But we do play next week. We play next Thursday night, September 11th, 7:30 local time. It's going to be on ESPN2, thank God nobody wants to watch the damn Pac-12 networks because nobody can see the Pac-12 networks. What the hell was Larry Scott doing? Can we fire him again? Is that possible? I'm looking forward to see what everybody's comments are in this. Again, please like, share, subscribe. Really appreciate everybody coming and tuning in. Go ahead and go to Anchor and help me out there and subscribe to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. We appreciate everybody coming in tonight and enjoying the chat. Thank you, Jedi ASU, for coming in. We're going to be doing post-game pods for Arizona State every single post-game or every single game, excuse me. So please join in. And I do think it's going to be a special season for Arizona State. Let's get by the first game. Let's breathe and let's see what they do next time. Go Sun Devils, man. It's good to have football back. I'm going to be back Sunday night, 8:30 local Phoenix time, 9:30 my time here in Salt Lake. We're going to be joined by my co-hosts Amit and Jay. We're going to go all in on the Cardinals, and special guest Salty is going to be coming in as well too. We're going to go game by game, break down what we think is going to happen in the schedule for the Cardinals. And with the Jordan Phillips news, it's not looking good, man. But thank you again for coming in tonight. I really appreciate everybody. And we just need to have a little bit of faith, y'all. And I think we can do it. So go Sun Devils, man. It's good to be back. Thank you again. He's on Fire podcast coming at you, episode 2. Give me a thumbs up, y'all. See ya.